20 years. Can you believe it's been 20 years since Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back?
No, because it's so crazy to me because, it's like, especially right now we're filming Clerks 3. So it's like, I'm so thinking about like, wow, I guess I can, because I think about Clerks and that was 30 years ago almost. And so, but again, it's like I feel like every couple of years, all of a sudden, like, oh my God, 20 years of Mallrats, 20 years of Dogma. I can't believe now we're at 20 years of Strikes Back. Like, soon we're going to be 20 years of Clerks 2. It's unbelievable and so surreal, but how amazing. I mean, I feel so stoked right now that we are filming Clerks 3, man. It was, it took some time to get it rolling, but here we are. So it's all been awesome.
Well, and I know you're kind of in the Jay mindset, and one of the biggest questions I'm hearing today is, what do Jay and Silent Bob think of the new HeMan cartoon?
Oh, Jay and Silent Bob love the new HeMan cartoon because even though Jay is a little, Jay's a little unsure what's going to happen. He knows that it's not over yet, so there's more to come, and anything could happen with magic and powers. And that's what I find it so interesting about people who have been like unsure about it and complaining or not very happy. I'm like, look, I could see if this is beginning and end of the show and people being like, look, I don't like, but it's like, it's not over yet. How can you, I mean, I guess I know how, but I don't know why people get so up in arms about stuff when it's like, look, it's not over yet, and there's magic and there's things and whatever. But it's a bummer. I enjoyed it very much. I think the animation was fantastic. A lot of things that come out now, I feel like when they do reimaginings or what have you of shows, cartoons, they're doing a lot of them try to do anime and do things like that. It's like, this I thought looked awesome and was fun.
Well, my question was, do you get caught in the crossfire of that? Because it was kind of a crazy week after that came out, just the discourse. And I'm wondering, I know you voice Stinkor on the show. Do you get kind of caught up in what Kevin Smith goes through with some of these people that are such big babies about something?
Yes, it's true. Yes, not so much. I don't do the reading. Look, it's funny because all the years I've been doing this, I've never got how do I say it? Like, I've never got myself engrossed in interviews and critics reviews and all this stuff, because I felt like I would dwell on even, and I know it's tough because I try to tell Kevin, because yes, I get it as much as I'm so close with Kevin. We spend lots of time together. He's my best friend. He's like a brother. And when he's upset about something, it upsets me. So I feel it in that sense. But I didn't read it or see any of the bad things or all that. I just heard a couple of tidbits from people. Oh my God, I can't believe so-and-so, like this person's doing interviews about how they didn't like that, this and that. And I'm like, but I never got involved in that because I even tell Kevin, I'm like, bro, and it's tough to say because I try to avoid it myself, but 100 people could say you're the smartest person in the world. But if one person says, this person's not very smart and is this and then that and that, and I feel like I would maybe do the same thing. And that's why I've always sort of tried to avoid negative feedback and stuff. And someone's like, oh my gosh, did you see what someone said about the Jay character or whatever and about Jay and Bob? I'd be like, no, and I don't want to see it. Like, I don't need to see that.
I was gonna say, I think an interesting thing being with the Mewes universe, I think since it came out, I remember Clerks came out in college when I was in college, and I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Jay. I mean, maybe that's just where I live, but it seems like Jay is one of those characters that is just impossible to hate. I don't know if you feel that way, but
no. Well, I'm hoping again. Thankfully I haven't read anything because I avoid it. But also, yes, luckily I don't think I've heard bad feedback. But I'm glad that I think the good thing is Jay's a character to most, and well, he is, and he's very similar to me. But I think the good thing is what I've gotten over the years about people who enjoy Jay and Bob and follow them, and that is so many people have told me, hey man, I love Jay and Bob because I have a cousin who's just like Jay. My best friend is just like Jay. My brother, so many people can relate to the Jay and Bob characters because they have friendships like that or have friends who are like Jay. And that's great. So maybe that's why, luckily, we have not gotten much bad feedback about the Jay character. So
I wouldn't normally bring up the whole controversial He-Man thing in an interview like this, but I watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back twice over the last year, and I was surprised at how timeless this movie is, even though it seemed really topical at the time. And what happens in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is really kind of the discourse we're still seeing with He-Man. That's kind of why I brought it up, is like these ideas and themes in this movie really haven't gone away or subsided at all, and they're kind of even more relevant today. I don't know if you feel that way.
yeah. It is. Again, I always find, I tell people this all the time, and for many reasons, I find, Kevin, not just because he's my best friend, but I really do find Kevin to be quite clever and a very smart writer. And he always says, that he's more of a, when people are like, Kevin Smith's a director, it's like, to him, he's more of a writer. And I don't know, I do find him to be, every time I read one of his scripts, I find it more and more clever. Like Reboot, I thought was so clever, the throwbacks to the old movies and all this, how he tied things in and out. And Clerks 3, the same. When you guys see Clerks 3, it's super awesome and clever. And yeah, I agree. Like Kevin, I feel like Kevin talked about things that, weren't cool back then, but they're cool now. Like people know comic books, and Kevin talked a lot about, there's the comic book stuff. It's awesome to see. So.
Well, I was going to say, people always say nostalgia kind of clouds your memories and your love for something. What does Jay now think about Phantoms when he goes back and watch it? Does he still think Ben Affleck is the bomb? Or does he see it for what it really is? It's just the kind of...
I don't know. I would say Jay would still find him to be the bomb in Phantoms and or any movie. I honestly feel that Ben. I feel like Ben is I do enjoy watching Ben, to be honest. And again, not just because he's I find him to be a friend, but I think he's good. I always enjoy watching him, and Matt Damon too. But yeah, he's definitely the bomb in Phantoms.
Well, I want to say, it seems like the Jay and Silent Bob movies are a little bit more whimsical than the Clerks movies. And Jay really kind of matured in the last movie we saw. He has a daughter. He kind of grew up a little bit. Now you're going into Clerks 3. Are we going to see that same sort of through line with Jay where he's still continuing to mature a little bit and kind of grow in this new movie? And maybe it's a little bit more serious than what we saw in Reboot?
Yeah, another thing. Again, I hate to keep, blowing up Kevin and saying how clever I think he is. But yes, another thing I find very clever about Kevin with the movies is, again, Jay has grown in each movie. And yes, Clerks, Chasing Amy, Clerks 2, Jay is a little more serious. But also, if you see, Kevin sort of adapts Jay to real life, because when Clerks 1, excuse me, the first Clerks, Kevin wrote Jay based on a 13, 14, 15-year-old Jason Mewes. And then when I got older, Kevin based, Mallrats is more slapsticky and fun and goofy, but it was things that I said and did. And then Chasing Amy and so on. I feel like, Clerks 2, they mentioned Jay and Bob, the guys come up, go, hey, where you been? He goes, hey, we've been we got 6 months in rehab. Like that really happened. And Jay and Silent Bob were sober then in Clerks and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's cool that, you know, Kevin adapted that whole, he's adapted Jay and had Jay grow in each movie. Reboot, he has a kid and he's a little more mature, so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't want to give away too much. Again, Jay and Bob are, you know, not the main characters in this, of course. Dante and Randall are, but again, Jay and Bob are in it, and it's fun, and it's going to be amazing. So
one of the things I think Kevin Smith has let go on Twitter is that you will be recreating scenes from Clerks.
Did he say that?
Yeah, because he's trying to get the San Jose Sharks to sign off on a scene that you guys originally shot, and he wanted you to reshoot it.
Yeah. Well, then yeah. So I don't like this. I'm always so afraid I'm going to give something away that I'm not supposed to. So yes, if Kevin said it's true, then it's true.
Well, what's that like for you to go back and have to recreate scenes that you shot almost 30 years ago?
It's awesome. It's weird, but it's awesome at the same time. It's so, for example, one thing I'll just say is like wardrobe. Like putting on an outfit from 30 years ago is so interesting. It's just like looking at myself in the mirror, like, it's like, oh my God, this is so surreal. Like, this is like an older me and a younger me. I don't know. It's awesome. Again, there is not one thing, honestly, that I could do on the set with Kevin in one of his movies as Jay. I guess even not as Jay, like Zach Amiri was just, it was a little, at that time, it was even more fun for me because I got to be in a Kevin Smith movie with Kevin and not play Jay, which was cool to play something different. But I kid you not, like every time I film with Kevin, we have so much fun. And it's like camp all over again. It's like he brings people back that we've worked with multiple times. And it was even more so back in the day, because back in the day, we used to use, you know, some people have moved on, but like for years, it was the same DP, the same script supervisors, the same transportation, the same craft service. Like Kevin would try to use the same people because he enjoyed them or liked them being around. And so it was like you get to hang out with these people for 2-3 months, and then you don't see them for maybe a year. You see them at the premiere, and then you don't see them again. And then all of a sudden we're filming another movie, and you get to spend 3 months with them again. And it's like that still, but not as many people have come back, of course, because we're in Jersey, we're not in Cali or wherever we are. And people have moved on, like, you know, Dave Klein, who filmed Clerks, the first Clerks. You know, he's been doing Homeland and True Blood and all that stuff. So it's amazing. It's so much fun. And again, I always, no matter what I have to do, if it's dressing in old gear, which is surreal to put on an old outfit and the rush of nostalgia come back, to whatever it might be, is awesome.
Well, going back to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, you guys do something in that movie that's fairly unique. And that's that you show that you're on the set or you pass the set of a Scream movie. But
yeah.
You guys are also in Scream 3 as Jay and
Yes.
Silent Bob. So there's this question about does the Scream universe take place in the View Askew universe? Or is the making of Scream take place in the View Askew universe? Are Jay and Silent Bob in the Scream universe? How does that whole thing work out, especially since we have Scream 5, which they want to call just Scream, into that? And did Jay and Silent Bob ever get asked to come back for Scream 5?
I hope so. I didn't know they were doing another Scream. They're doing another Scream?
I think they just finished shooting it.
Oh, I hope they didn't, because then we didn't get to get back in it. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome, honestly. That would have been quite amazing if we got to go back. But I feel like we're both in both worlds, because remember when we're in Scream, right? Aren't we waiting in line at the, we're waiting outside. Yeah, we're outside of the movie set where they're filming. and then we run by them filming. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like we're both in the world. I feel like Scream's in our world and we're in their world.
Okay, well, I have one more question for you. Well, I want to ask, how did Jay and Silent Bob handle the pandemic? And is that going to be addressed in Clerks 3? Because I want to know how those two handled it. I know they seem like they would be by themselves anyways.
Yeah, that's a good question because I don't know how would they handle it. I feel like they would handle it well because you're right, they have each other. They can hang out together, spend time together, and when you see the movie, I don't want to give it away because but like in the movie you'll see that Jay and Bob are as always entrepreneurs, and you'll see what they do, and I feel like they would have been okay. I feel like Jay and Bob would have been together, been able to do what they're doing in the movie. You'll see in Clerks 3 comes out. They would have been able to sustain and hang out and be happy where they are. So you'll see, but it's such a great question. And I don't think there's ever a straight up explanation, but you'll be able to tell.
One last question before I go. Suzanne, how is she? And are we going to see her in Clerks 3 or can we not give that away?
We will not, I don't know if we want to try to, I would say Suzanne herself is not going to be in Clerks 3 because I know Suzanne and the actual ape that played Suzanne is too old now to work. I don't know if she's still alive, but the last time we heard anything about her, she had to stop acting because I guess when they get to be about 3 years old, they're too old and aggressive, and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And so they have to, so they're like, don't touch me. And then I guess they have to go to like one of those wildlife preserve things or places somewhere, hopefully that she's happy. Hopefully she's happy. Last we heard, she's happy. She's retired, and that's that. So that ape, Suzanne from the movies that Jay and Bob and Mallrats will not be in this one.
Okay, well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on and chatting a little bit while you're in the middle of shooting Clerks 3. It's great to hear.
Thank you.
About HeMan. I know a lot of people are waiting to see the rest of HeMan, so that's going to be fun. And Stinker's coming out, right?
Yes, I hope so. I hope so. As of right now, we'll see, and then hopefully if there's more, there'll be more.
Because people like Jay, people love that character no matter, what's happening in the background. That's one of those fan favorite characters that, even as a grown man, that's the figure you want because the skunk's so cool. Yeah. So,
anyway. I really hope he becomes a big part of. Hopefully there's more, and then hopefully Stinker's in it more.
Okay, well, have a good rest of your day, dude, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much. You have a great day too.